Hey, yo, what is going on? Welcome to, is it the Monday Mindset Movement? I'll just say this. Welcome to January 1st, 2024. My gosh. Yeah. I don't know about you. I'm fired up. I am ready to rock and roll for this year. It has been a fantastic holiday season, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I don't know about y'all, but I am fired up. I'm excited about the year. Welcome. Just wanted to say hey to some of y'all that are in the space. Vic Sandoval, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Encounter 2911, good to see you. Amani Roberts, what's up, my friend? What's up, my dude? Dwayne Wood, what's up? Yes, let's get the year started right. Eileen Smith, oh my gosh, the people are in the place. I love it. Listen, y'all, let me turn this music down. I'm ready to rock. I don't know about you. I had, for the first time in our lives, we had a vacation. We took a vacation in the month of December, and it's just given me such new perspective on things, man. Yeah, so let's jump on in. I'm actually gonna do my intro real quick. All right, y'all ready? So we can start this thing. All right, here we go. 1 second.
It's time to get motivated, elevated, and accelerated. It's your time to jump out of your comfort zone and reach higher. It's time to get up and go. Grab your cup of grit and your daily dose of resilience. It's time for the Monday Mindset Movement with your host, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. It's time.
Let's go. All right. Yeah, so we started our vacation. We did a vacation in 2023 December for the first time. And I don't know if you all have done that before. We've never done it before. We've typically taken our family vacations in the summer. Yeah, we've done a weekend trip or two here in December, or we've traveled to see family in December. We've never taken a vacation in December, right? And typically in the summer, you take your vacation and you come back, and then you've got to get back into everything right after that, right? So you've got your family vacation, and then you've got emails that pile up, and then you come back, and yeah, so you have all the stuff that's taking place right at that point, right? And so one of the things that this vacation allowed to happen. Hey, y'all, I'm doing some camera adjustments here for those of you that are my eCam people. One of the things that happened while when we did this vacation in this way is that it allowed us to come back re-energized and then just be able to sit in that space and not feel like we got to get back into the day, into our work immediately. We still had some time to just chill and refocus and relax. And so I am, just super glad that we were able to do that. For y'all who have never done that, highly recommend it. Do your vacation in December, y'all. All right. Because the world shuts down around the holiday season. So do your vacation and then come back and just chill for a little bit. So here's the deal. Here's what we're talking about today. Hey, D Bowden, good to see you on YouTube and on Facebook. So glad you're here. Y'all that are watching with me, do me a favor. Just go ahead and type, just say hey, or just say Happy New Year in the chat so I can say hey, and Happy New Year to you also. For those of you that are watching on Instagram, yes, thank you so much. Valentin Sierra, Vic Sandoval, yep, glad you're here, man. Let's talk about this. So for those of you that saw the title of this, Why I Am Not Focused on Goals This Year. right? We're at January 1st, and typically at the beginning of the year, we focus on goals or we focus on resolutions. So you hear resolutions. A couple of my friends were watching, we're doing a show last night before the ball dropped, and they were talking with people about goals, and they were talking about all of the different things that people do at the beginning of the year, right? Happy New Year. Thank you. What's happening? All right. Galen Bingham, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. Happy New Year, Observant Lee from Italy. Fantastic. Glad you're here. So they were talking about goals and resolutions and how people set them and some of the things that people do. Do me a favor. When you talk about goals, those of you that are in the comments, what do you do at the beginning of the year? Do you set resolutions? Do you set goals? Do you have a number that you set? What is it that you do? So I typically would set maybe, 5 to 10 different goals at the beginning of the year, or I would just sit and create a resolution bucket list or something of that nature. Do me a favor, just tell me a little bit about how you would deal with your goals, right? So last year, December, I got this idea. My family and we decided to write down our goals. I printed out the sheet of paper and I wrote down these different areas in your life. As a matter of fact, let me actually hold this up really quickly. Mentor of mine, friend of mine, colleague of mine, Ann McNeil, does this thing called the International Mastermind Association. And every year they have this retreat where you kind of mastermind your entire life. And she talked about the 10 different areas that of your life where you need to create some focus. And so this sheet, all right, you've got spiritual, you've got family, you've got financial. Okay, let's see if I can hold it up back here because it's, let me see if this is better. Yeah, you got spiritual, you got financial. No, that's not better at all. It's not focusing, taking too long. All right, it's a little bit too close. There we go. Spiritual, family, financial, health, educational, personal, business, career, recreational, civic, creativity, right? Those are the 10 different areas where of life and where they talk about creating some focus for yourself, right? So a lot of people do this differently. Amani says that he does 3 personal and 3 professional goals. Yeah, okay. So a lot of people have the way that they set their goals a little bit differently. And typically, I have been in that box where I create some focus goals. As a matter of fact, I've typically done a word for the year. I'm still going to. I'm a little bit late this year. Last year, my word was reignite. And based on this vacation, I feel reignited, right? I see somebody else. I'm not sure who this is. I'll have to go over to Facebook. I'm not logged into Facebook. There, go ahead and just type your name for me. I identify goals in a few steps each. Yeah. All right, cool. Excellent. Tell me, those of you that are on, tell me how you set up your goals and how you deal with your resolutions. And so what typically happens, actually, I started a story and I just left that story in the dust. My family and we last year decided that we were going to put some goals on this paper. Okay. And so I followed what Ann suggested and I put these 10 different areas. I did a lot of these with my family and everybody wrote goals. And what we did was we then put those goals in a box. Okay. Everybody folded up their paper. They put their goals in the box and we put them on top of the piano in our living room. And the idea was that this year we would come back, open up the box, check out those goals and see how many of them we accomplished. Okay. So we did that, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. So let me pause for a second. I want to go back through what people are saying in the comments here. So Lee says, I'd have never really, but trying a goal this year trying a goal planner this year called the Full Focus Planner. Yeah, so I've actually used the Full Focus Planner, Lee. That's actually a really good planner. That's actually a really good planner. The issue that I had was I didn't always follow through, and I ended up getting a lot of empty books, or books that were half empty. I solved that a little bit with a mastermind. But anyway, so let's keep talking here. Let's keep talking. D says, I make a list of 5 to 10 things that I plan to work on during the year. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So we have a lot of different ways that people set goals. My family, we did these goals and we put them in a box. A lot of people set goals generally. You put these, you say, I want to do this year. I want to be skinnier. All right. I want to get a beach body this year. Right. I want to be better with my family. I was on the show last night watching some people, and somebody said that one of their goals was to be more patient in 2024. All right. That was their goal. And we were talking on that show, and I've talked about this in the past with regard to goal setting, how we want to be specific about our goals, right? So when you set a goal, you don't want to just say, I want to do this. You want to attach some numbers to it. You want to make it a SMART goal. You want to make it specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound, right? You want to make sure that you have those elements in your goal. And so that's how I've typically talked about goal setting. Okay. But I'm going to stop again. And I'm going to keep going through this in just a moment here, but I want to really get some of these comments in. So Galen says, I've stopped setting resolutions. I follow Ant's process and set intentions in all 10 areas. Then I use the Hot Sheet app. Ooh, tell us about the Hot Sheet app, Galen, to plan out the year. All right. Somebody else says they wrote a list. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like what people are saying here. I like what people are saying. Good deal. All right. So, oops, I forgot to do something. All right, but I'll deal with that in a little bit. All right. So, I typically have set goals, and based on what Ann McNeil has said in this document, we set goals. Hey, Gamal Alexander, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you on Instagram. We set goals and we share when we'll accomplish those goals. But this year, I'm not going to go against what Ann McNeil says, but this year, I kind of discovered something that has shifted my focus, or how I plan to operate, and how I've been operating for the last few months. So those of you who know me know that I talk about storytelling a whole lot. And as I was walking through this discovery, it kind of hit me like goals are a little bit like storytelling, right? So if I talk about stories, I say that stories must have an emotional component, right? In order for them to work, right? In order for them to be good, stories must have an emotional component, an experiential component, a feeling component. Brene Brown calls stories data with a soul, right? And so stories must have an emotional component. So goals, likewise, must also have an emotional component in order for them to really work. Right? In order for the goals to really work, they must have some sort of an emotional component. Are y'all getting an echo? Hold on one second. Making sure. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. So in order for us to accomplish them, in order for them to really sit with us, there must be an emotional component. As a matter of fact, sometimes we don't accomplish our goals because we want to reach them, but we're not emotionally committed to them. I wanted that to sink in. Sometimes we don't accomplish our goals because we want to reach them. We would like to reach them, but we're not emotionally committed to reaching them. As a matter of fact, missing them doesn't really even hit you emotionally. How many of you, I'll raise my hand. How many of us have ever set a goal or a resolution at the beginning of the year, and then if we miss it or if we fall off track, it's just kind of like, oh, right? You feel guilty for a moment, but you're not really bothered by it, right? You feel guilty for a moment, but you're not really bothered by it. So here's what I discovered this year. I don't know how everybody starts their morning. I start my morning with some meditation, prayer, and the Bible app. I use this app specifically called YouVersion. Okay, the YouVersion Bible app. That's a specific app that I use. So what I discovered was if you've used the YouVersion Bible app before, you know how it works. You've got these Bible plans that you do these devotionals. As a matter of fact, I've written several in their plug. If you're a Bible reader and you go to the YouVersion app, check out some of the plans that I've written there. One called Navigating the Imposter, another called The God Who Pursues, my most recent one's called Love Harder. Right? Go check those out. So here's what I discovered by using the YouVersion Bible app. I would get up, and every day that you open and participate or engage with the app, it takes record of it. And so if I open my app today on Monday, and then I open it on Tuesday, and then I open it on Wednesday, I've got 3 days in the app, and the app has this little thing up at the top where it shows the number. So I've got 3 days. I've got a streak of 3 days inside of the app. Right? So I would look at this number, and there was one day where I don't remember what happened, but I opened the Bible app and I recognized that the number at the top right said 1. And I looked and I was like, why did it say 1? And I swore that I had opened it, but then I went back through my schedule and just kind of remembered what I did. And I realized that I hadn't opened the app. So I had a streak of 50 at that point. And when that 50 was broken and it was reset, I had an emotional response. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to go back in the app, and I started my streak again. And then I kept going, and I would open it up every day, making sure that I did it, make sure I read my Bible, make sure I read my verses, my verse of the day, whatever it was. And then I got up to 100, then 150, then I got up to 200. And something happened where I went to bed late, had to wake up super early to do a project like at 2 or 3 in the morning. And then I just kind of went on with my day. The next time that I thought about it was the day after. And when I realized it, I had my streak broken at 200. Yeah, Lola, you got it. You got it, right? Breaking that streak is traumatic. Yes, I have. So, I mean, when I opened up the next day after it reached 200 and something, and I saw that it said 1, I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? So I had to go back through and I started it again. And I started and I kind of got up to 100. Then I got up to 200. Then I got up to 300. And then a year came and I was at 365. And then I passed a year and then I got up to close to 400. It was like 402 or 403. And something happened and that streak got broken. The next morning I woke up, and you don't recognize when the streak's broken until you get back in it, right? I got back in it this morning. I said 1. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? Why do I have 1? And then I replayed my day and I recounted what happened, why my streak was broken. Here's what I discovered. There was an emotional response. Yeah, Lola said it, right? Breaking that streak is there was an emotional response that I had to breaking the streak. Now, let's talk about goals for a second. What goal did I have? Okay, my goal may have been to get closer to God, if I can quantify that. My goal may have been to get to a certain number, right? But here's what happens with certain goals, right? Once you achieve the goal, what next? So if my goal is to get to 100, okay, what next? If my goal is to get to 500, what next? Speaking of that, my current goal is, hey, y'all, let me see if I can show this to y'all. Let me open up my Bible app real quick, okay? If y'all can see this. My current goal, my current streak is top right. Can you get closer? 499, right? So my current streak is 499. So when I broke the streak, there was an emotional response that took place. Right? And I want y'all to get this. Yes, you can have a goal. Yes, you should have goals. But in this case, I wasn't so much focused on the goal of 100 or 200 or 300. My focus was on the streak. My focus was not on not breaking the streak. My focus still is on not breaking the streak. And part of the reason why my focus is on not breaking the streak is because of that emotional, visceral response that I had when I realized that the streak was broken. Now, this may or may not motivate everybody, but it motivated me. And so I recognized that, hey, number one, if I don't have an emotional tie to a goal, I'm not going to work as hard at it. But the other piece of this is that it's not so much that I'm fighting towards a goal. It's that I'm fighting to create something small. So what I've done, or what I discovered, was that I fight still for this Bible app streak. So then I kind of started to think, okay, what if I started to streakify or gamify my life like the Bible app? Right? So, Ann McNeil's giving me these 10 different areas. What if I had things that I wanted to accomplish, but I gamified or streakified the actions? So back to my family goal box. So here's what happened. We opened the box and we looked at the list of goals that we each had created from last year. And we realized that a couple of things. Number one, we realized that we didn't accomplish a lot of the goals for a couple of reasons. Number one was that the goal itself wasn't in front of us enough. We wrote down the goals, but we didn't keep them in front of us enough. Now, here's where I'm going with this, and here's what I want you to pay attention to. There are a lot of times where I hear during the year, speak this into existence or manifest this. And I'm not minimizing those people who believe that. But here's what happens. A lot of times people say they want something or they want to accomplish something. And then out of sight, out of mind, they never see it again. And then they wonder what happened. They wonder why this thing didn't appear again or why this thing didn't happen in their space. There's this great book called Think and Grow Rich. Another reason why I like Ann McNeil, right? She has created this mastermind system based on the book Think and Grow Rich. And if you read the book Think and Grow Rich, there's this thing in there called a self-confidence formula. And that self-confidence formula, there's something that is at the core of that called desire. And so what what you're instructed to do is to write that formula down and write it down and repeat it daily. And so it's not so much about magic, or it's not only necessarily about manifesting per se. It's really about having something that you are focused on and repeating that thing, or placing that thing in front of you continually, so that consciously, subconsciously, unconsciously, your actions kind of lean towards that thing, or the things that are in your space, the people that are in your space, the spaces that you end up in lean towards that thing, because that's kind of where you focus on, right? It's kind of like it leans to that whole idea of the reticular activation theory. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Hey, dual vision, Mike, my dude, good to see you, right? Streakify. Yes, exactly, right? So reticular activation theory is this thing that, so have you ever had this experience happen to you where you decide you want to get a car, you want to get a red car, and all of a sudden, not only do you see red cars on the street, but you see that specific model and make on the street. Before you started to think about it, before you started to focus on it, you didn't notice it. Your brain didn't filter out the other stuff. But now that you've focused on it, now that you've created space for everything inside your very being to filter that thing, your reticular activator begins to filter out the other stuff so that you can see that thing, right? So when you talk about writing down your goals, when you talk about keeping things in front of you, when you talk about streakifying, Michael Edwards, right? When you talk about doing all of that, this is what happens. Your reticular activator, your mind decides, okay, yup, let me filter out all of this other distractions, other stuff that's not as important, this other stuff that does not deserve my focus. And it starts to focus in on, okay, what actions, what things relate to that thing that I'm focused on. All right? Yep, exactly. No, Galen knows what I'm talking about. Yes, exactly. All right. Folks do everything for emotional reasons. I love this. All right. Then they find facts to justify. All right. Ted Legal, how you doing, my friend? All right. Lola Johnson, you thinking about this? You're thinking about this. All right. BJ, good to see you on YouTube. Thanks for joining me. You're saying that this is powerful. Love it. Excellent. Thank y'all so much. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right. So earlier this year, as I discovered this thing, as I discovered my emotional response to streakifying, gamifying the Bible app, right? I started to do some things. I said, you know what? I've heard this before, but I'm going to actually take this on. I'm going to start writing down my goals daily. And I'm not just writing down my goals like I want to do this. I'm actually writing them in past tense, like I've already accomplished it. I'm doing this daily. Right. And so one of the things that I did was, let me see if I can find it on my screen for you so you can kind of take a glimpse at it. I'm not going to show it to you in person. I'm not going to show you all of it, but I got this app called, what's this one called? Streaks. Yes. Right. And so what I did was I put some of my stuff that I wanted to focus on inside of this. And so every time I do it, it creates a streak, right? It adds something to the streak. So, and I have these reminders. So for example, some of the things that I have in here, read a book, PM, read a book for 10 minutes. I've got that in my list. Spanish for 10 minutes daily. That's in my list. If I look at let me actually show you some of the general ones. I've got make 5 new contacts daily, follow up with 5 contacts daily, post on LinkedIn, right? Those are things that I've got inside of my Streaks app, right? Those are some things that I've got inside of it. Actually, I want to show you something as well. Let me see if I need to stand up for this. All right, let me, oops, good. Oops. All right, well, not working how I want it to, but let's see. Let's see if I can show this to you. Where is it? Nope, it's not working. Okay, not working. Hold on. Let's see if we can get this baby to work. All right. Let's see if we can get this baby to work. Well, actually, let me just do it this way. I wanted to show you. Yeah, I wanted to show you this. I don't know if you can see it. All right. I'm going to show you this really quickly. All right. So if you look at my desk here, on my desk, I've got some cards, right? All right. And those cards are some goals and things that I want to keep in front of me. There are 4 main things that I want to accomplish. And I've written them down and I keep them in front of me. Okay, they're on 4 different colored cards. I keep them in front of me. And so these are some goals that I have. So let me back up here for a second. I want to not defend, but explain what I'm talking about here. The title of the show was Why I've Not Focused on Goals. Okay, now I'm not telling you not to set goals. As a matter of fact, I'm telling you the opposite. I am telling you to set goals. However, one of the things that happens is we set a goal, and when we focus only on that goal, we miss some of these small steps on the way to the goal. So here's what's happened. I have goals, but I'm focused on habits. That's where this whole streakifying and gamifying thing comes in. I've got goals, but I'm focused on habits. I've got a goal of having a better relationship with God, but I'm focused on the action of being inside of the Bible every single day. And my streak quantifies that for me. Right? I am focused on posting on LinkedIn every weekday. And my Streaks app quantifies that for me. I'm focused on making sure that I stretch my tendons and stretch my ligaments and stretch my muscles twice a day. And I have some apps that I utilize on my phone to do that. And those apps are connected to my Streaks app. So when I use them, it quantifies that. I've got a streak of bending or stretching. Bend is one of the apps that I use, right? So again, you've got goals, create goals, but focus on habits. Create goals and focus on habits. All right, so I'm going to see what Galen says here. I'm looking at some of these comments. Galen says, you have to articulate your goals in a way that your brain will stay engaged on the new behavior. So here's the thing, and here's what I'm really hoping everybody understands from this. A goal is not a habit. A goal is not a milestone. A goal is typically not a specific action. In order to get to the goal, you've got to pass certain milestones. In order to get to the goal, you've got to activate or to commit and to execute certain actions. Right? And so in order to reach the goal, you've got to create some habits that will get you to that goal. Right? So James Clear has this book called Atomic Habits, and he talks about becoming 1% better every day. And he says, I think he says this, or maybe I'm paraphrasing him, but he says you can create a goal, but in order to achieve it, you must execute small, repeatable actions. And so this year, 2024, Yeah, I've got some things I want to accomplish. Yeah, I've got 12-month goals. Yes, I've got 5-year goals. Yes, I've got 10 and 20-year goals. But in order for me to achieve them, in order for me to get to them, my focus needs to be on what are the small, consistent, repeatable steps that I can take in order to accomplish them. So yeah, I'm not focused on goals. I'm focused on habits. I'm focused on streakifying my life. I'm focused on gamifying my life. So my question for you is, what is it that you can do to gamify, streakify, create a focus on some areas in your life that you want to become better in? So do me a favor, y'all that are in the chat, do me a favor, just go ahead and type in for me one thing, one step that you can take or repeat in order to achieve a goal that you're focused on, or a goal that you want to accomplish. What's one thing? So yeah, dual vision, what's going on? Glad you're here, making it plain. Yes, thank you so much. All right. It's all good. 75. Hey, so glad that you're here on Instagram. VidZ, like 14 eyes. All right. So glad you're here. Bonji Gabs. So glad you're here. Oral 4879. Glad you're here. Michael Avril. Glad you're here. Debbie 14. Glad you're here. Nate Paris. So good to see you. Glad you're here. Errol B. Samuel. What's going on? Good to have you on Instagram. Candy's Crush. Good to see you on Instagram. Errol B. Samuel. Yep, glad you're here. Gamal Alexander, glad you're here. Lou Matthews Live, glad that you are here, my friend. So glad that you're here on Instagram. Let me see who else is here. Ephraim Parra. Okay, I hope I said that right. Ephraim. Okay, Parra. Okay, good. Glad you're here. All right. Susanna, your check. All right. Sofa Express Engineering. So glad you're here. Joanna Insurance. Glad you're here. Yvette Whaley. Valentine Sierra, glad you're here. So glad that y'all are here. What's going on? All right, so let me go back to these chats here. So Cheryl Bennett says you're going to write your goals down and review them daily. Okay, yes. So the habit that you're forming is writing it down daily and reviewing them daily. Yes, yes. Good job. All right, good. All right, D. Bowden says in order to get to the goal, you need steps to get them done. Fantastic. Absolutely. All right. Anya Laverne Seymour says discipline. Yes, discipline is the thing that we all need. So let me push you, Anya, a little bit. What do you need to be disciplined about, or how do you create that discipline? See, for me, here's what I've done in my space to do everything possible, right? You don't leave these things, these actions, or executing these actions to chance. Right? I'm not leaving them to chance. I'm not just hoping that I remember. I'm setting up systems in my life so that I can accomplish these things. Right? And so here's one of my systems. One of my systems is to have an app that reminds me and that sometimes auto completes some of these things when I do them, so that I don't have to only depend on willpower or my brain to remember to do these things, right? So when we talk about discipline, when we talk about writing them down, when we talk about accomplishing goals, when we talk about achieving steps, what are the systems, what are the micro systems that you're putting in place to help you get through these steps that you need to take? All right? Do me a favor, y'all. I want to invite you to something. I'm just putting this together. But I'm doing this session called, let me see if I can write this down. All right. I'm doing this session called Unleash Your Story. Right? And I'm going to be doing that on January 8th at 7 p.m. And the whole idea behind that is that each of us has a story to tell. Each of us has these things that make up how we operate. Okay. And in 2024, do you want to continue to operate in the way that you have been? Do you want to continue to operate in your comfort zone? Do you want to continue to operate in a way that's gotten you the results that you have currently? Or do you want to multiply that? Do you want to maximize that? Do you want to get to another space? Do you want to unleash some of the stuff that's inside of you in order to truly make the impact that you want? Right? I hear some yes. Anya says, nope, I don't want to be the same. I want to be different. So do me a favor. Go to rk3live.com/unleash your story and join me for this session this coming Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me see. Let me make sure that I can, that I'm typing the right link in there. So unleash your story. Let me make sure that you've got the registration page. Ooh, gosh, nope, that's not correct. All right, so let me, all right, let's make sure that we get the right thing here. So hold on. Let me make sure I got it. The QR code right here should be correct, but let me just double check and make sure I've got the right link for y'all. So we're not going to the wrong space. I want you to join me and let's get this year started. I'm a big believer in not using our own personal willpower and not doing things on our own. Oh, here's what the link is. Wrong thing. Let me edit this so that y'all can get here. So it's rk3live.com/your 2024 story. That is the correct link. All right. So let me make sure that I test that as well so that. All right. Cool. Excellent. All right. Yes. So January 8th at 7 p.m. Join me for the, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can share. All right. So you can do this. You can join me for this. All right. So January 8th, join me for the Unleash Your 2024 Power Story, Unleash Your Most Powerful Story in 2024. And this is a recap of some of the stuff that we talked about today, but I want to give you some of the tools that I'm using to really implement the discipline, implement the rhythm, implement the impact, implement the success for you so that you are not just trying to do this on your own and trying to figure out your own steps on this. All right. So that's what we want to do. That's what we want to make happen. All right. Good deal. So listen, that's what we've got for today. Join me for this thing next week, Monday, for this session, rk3live.com/your 2024 story. And I would love to hang out with y'all. All right. So normally on Monday mornings, we do the Monday Mindset Movement at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, whatever time it is on the eastern coast of the United States of America. We did it a little bit later today just because everybody went to bed late. And we're going to be back in the game next week, Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with another Monday Mindset Movement. If you want messages that elevate you, that motivate you, that accelerate you, join me for about 20 to 30 minutes on Monday morning. If you have not yet signed up for our text list so that you can get to this, do me a favor. You can either go to this QR, wrong QR. You can go to, what's the other side? Okay. You can go to this QR code right here, or you can just you can text Go Live to 240-557-8679. Okay. Text Go Live, GOLIVE to 240-557-8679. If you don't have time to remember that, just do a screen capture of this QR code right here and then scan it and go to it a little bit later on. All right. So that's what we got. That's what we got, people. That's what we got, people. All right, y'all. I look forward to seeing you. I know that if you execute on what we're talking about today, that if you decide that you're going to do small steps, if you decide that you're going to focus on habits and milestones instead of the big goal, you're going to achieve success this year. You're going to be able to unleash your story. You're going to be able to create greater impact than you could have ever dreamed. All right, so join me on January 8th at 7 p.m. Go to rk3live.com/your 2024 story. I hope to see you in the room. And yeah, we're going to make this year your most phenomenal year yet. Peace.